We heard statements from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that part of the rationale behind these attacks was to instigate some form of regime change within Iran. Now, obviously, that is not a new message from Benjamin Netanyahu. It is also a message that he has carried towards Lebanon and Syria as well. In your assessment, just how strong do you think he is, or how confident do you think he is that this could actually lead to regime change in a country which Israel is currently attacking?
Well, that obviously is out of Israel's hands, and there can be no doubt that Israel would welcome regime change in Iran and the installing of either some version of the previous Shah regime or a democracy. There is some confidence in Israel, and you can call it wishful thinking. The people of Iran, if allowed, would be their very close friends, as was the case up until 1979, when Israel and Iran had something close to an alliance. People tend to forget this. But that's not something Israel can control. So who knows? If this really, really escalates and they end up attacking civilian infrastructure and the people of Iran start rising up, almost anything could occur. And generally speaking, I think there's understanding in the West that any regime change in Iran, even if triggered by military action of this kind involving third parties abroad, has to be done between the people of Iran and the current government. But the sense that the people of Iran, an excellent ancient civilization that is profound and serious and should be a positive force in the world, has been hijacked by criminals 46 years ago, that sense is strong. There is a notion that the Iranian regime is as distinct from the people, is a rogue operation that, should it come to an end, if it should come to an end, that would be extremely beneficial, not just for the Iranian people, but for the region and for the world.
If this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Netanyahu to reshape the Middle East, is this what we're seeing at the moment about regime change in Iran? The ramifications are of huge global significance in terms of competing influences in the region. Netanyahu is insisting Iranians should rise up against the regime. Is that wishful thinking on Netanyahu's part?
Well, that depends on how realistic it is. I have no doubt it is his wish. I also think that is the wish of the governments in Saudi Arabia and most other countries of the Middle East. I suspect it's a majority opinion in Iran itself. But, you know, there have been multiple uprisings in Iran that were all quashed pretty convincingly by a violent and despotic regime. I'm sure the Americans want regime change in Iran. Basically, the entire planet wants regime change in Iran, with the possible exception of Putin and Russia. Is it realistic? I frankly doubt it. I would expect the Americans to try to impose an endgame fairly soon, largely out of control, out of concern for, as I say, their own assets in the Gulf, their base in Qatar, their vulnerability, the world's vulnerability, the global economy's vulnerability to an uncontrolled escalation of the situation here. I would, however, expect that with the Iranian program having been somewhat degraded, America to apply more leverage as regards a broader ambition for nuclear talks with Iran whenever they should resume, to include commitment by Iran to stop supporting Shiite militias and proxy militias all over the region that have been undermining the sovereignty of a host of countries, from Lebanon to Yemen to everywhere, basically, Iraq in particular.
All right, Dan, good to hear your thoughts on all of that. Dan Perry there in Tel Aviv. Thank you.